Hi everybody, we're going to get started real soon. Welcome to our monthly Unapologetic Woman Hour, and this month we are chatting about energy vampires, and we're going to have the amazing Elizabeth joining us momentarily where we're going to have this conversation. So any of you out there that are interested on any of this topic of energy, feeling people's vibes, how to protect yourself, we're going to be diving deep in a moment. Just going to wait momentarily for Elizabeth. We're having a few technical difficulties, but we're going to make it. Yay! She found us. Just awaiting the addition, and we're going to get started.
Hi. Yay! How are you?
Hi, I'm good. We are, it looks like, I thought we'd be side to side, and you're kind of a small box to me, but we're going to take it.
Okay, sounds good.
So welcome everybody to my monthly Unapologetic Woman Hour. I have the amazing Elizabeth here today. For those of you that are joining us live or listening to the recording, I just want to share with you a little bit about what this is all about. So I decided to begin this Unapologetic Woman Hour this year because I wanted to craft and create safe containers for us as women to feel like we can be fully heard unapologetically, be ourselves, feel like whatever we're going through in whatever moment, we have the right to express it, but also we have the wisdom to know which containers that we feel safe enough to really work through things, express ourselves, be ourselves. And so I've created Unapologetic Woman Hour as a very free-flowing conversation. So as we begin our conversation this month, I really encourage anybody that is watching live to comment. Watch the recording too. I got the comments after the recording, so feel free to comment below because we want to keep this conversation going. If any of you end up hopping on and you want to start sharing this, you're like, oh, I think there's a friend that would really love this conversation, please feel free to share this so that we can keep it moving. Today's topic is something that I really enjoy talking about, and I'm super excited to have Elizabeth here to share with us a little bit more about energy vampires and really protecting yourself and staying grounded in your own power. So Elizabeth, for those of my tribe that don't know you, I would love if you just quickly introduced yourself, who you are, who you serve, and we'll dive deeper into this conversation about energy vampires.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited. Thank you, Tracy. I just adore you and your movement and everything that you create, especially for women. We all just need to gather together and support one another. So I honor you and I bless you for that. So thank you. Yeah, love you. I'm Elizabeth Gifford Maffei. I'm an intuitive and I'm a coach and speaker. I serve entrepreneurs who are heart-centered, who are wanting to either grow their business and or discover what is stopping them from moving forward. And I do that in a variety of ways, but it's more like a holistic approach. So I help people put together their strategies, but then also discover personally what's going on. And then I use my intuitive and spiritual abilities to bring that in as well. So it's this huge, holistic, luscious approach. Very similar to a lot of things that you do, that we understand that we as women and we as humans are spirit first, and then of course in body as well. So we have to take care of all the mind, body, spirit. So that's what I do. But I'm really excited to talk about this this topic today. So I want to ask you something, Tracy, because I saw a post before about a week or so ago talking about kind of the energy that you were feeling. So how have you been feeling lately?
It's in, I think this conversation is at the perfect time. I've been having many conversations with people that are just feeling energetically off lately.
Hmm.
Um, and I've been noticing myself going through a lot of physical fatigue, and also feeling like some some heaviness. There's been some really interesting shifts and changes with some relationships that I've noticed, as well as some shifts in my business. So there's something going on right now.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Just myself, I'm trying to work through the best I can in the process. But yeah, I and several of my clients, several of actually my friends and family have expressed some heaviness recently. I've been feeling like I'm constantly like going to catch a cold too, and been having to fight that off as well. I think
Right, right.
all it's definitely all connected, for sure. But yeah, I'm in that moment right now where I'm just trying to navigate through it all, but I'm definitely feeling some heaviness right now, and I've gotten some confirmations from others they're feeling it too.
Right. And I'm so glad that we started off this way, and because you are always very transparent. That's one of the many things I love about you, and why I consider you a good friend of mine is you're very transparent and you lay it all out there, because the bottom line is when we do that, we recognize that everybody else or a lot of other people are feeling that way, and they may be either too shy or uncomfortable to share that. So they're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm not crazy. And we're not crazy. So if you'll allow me, I want to go through a couple of things about what are energy vampires, how to recognize energy and all of that. Can I get into it a little
Of
bit?
course, yes. Share.
Awesome, awesome. So before we start that, I want to share a piece of information that really is kind of a bigger picture of energy. Everything is made of energy. Everything around us is made of energy, and the earth that we live on is very, very energetic, very dynamic as well. But I want to just touch on this briefly. It's totally for another topic, but I want to touch on this briefly. If you've been feeling like this energy, like almost like you said, like this heaviness, or you may be people may be experiencing feeling kind of like tingly or antsy, or like some anxiety or anxiousness or whatever. uh, those of us who are very sensitive to energy, we all are, but those who really feel it and understand it, typically those of us who are very heart-centered and work with people who we want to help, right, we're able to feel this energy. And there's something called the Schumann resonance. And I don't know, have you ever heard of that before?
Haven't.
Okay, so it's a set of spectrum peaks that run at a very, very, very low frequency, and it's part of the Earth's magnetic field, and it's caused by lightning discharges between the Earth's surface and the atmosphere, the ionosphere. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the details, but I just to make a point, it typically runs at a very low frequency, which is energy, and we're going to be talking about energy vampires who run at a very low vibration.
Yeah.
Okay, so typically it runs at around 7.83 hertz. Okay, so that's just a way to measure energy. We have been globally affected by high peaks of very high frequency energy from the Earth daily, repetitively now. As a matter of fact, today it was up to 83 hertz. If you think about that, that's like 100 times, more than 100 times what we're used to. So we are being bombarded by high frequency energy. And those of us who really recognize that, and you may feel it as a heaviness, like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? This is something it's just, I feel bombarded, right? So I wanted to start out by just letting people know that They're they're not crazy, they're not overthinking things, but there is energy around us all of the time. And right now we're actually being infused with a higher vibration, which is good, because when we can step into our higher vibration and we learn how to protect ourselves from those people who drain us, that's going to be helpful. So now I just wanted to get that out there. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And I definitely vibe with you. And I think it's why we've connected, is I like to bring the science and the metaphysical spiritual together, because it helps some people that might be skeptical or not understand it get it a little bit more.
Right.
But also it really backs the power of it too. So
Right.
thank you for
I'm very, we're all very connected, and we all have an intuition, but the other half of me is this nerd, if you will. And I love researching and I love crunching numbers and I love doing all that. So it's like, you would think it would be a dichotomy. Like I have spirit guides and angels that I talk to. But then on the other hand, I'm like, I need to do the research. I need to know the why, what's behind it. So I've done a lot of work surrounding energy vampires. So I really want to get into it. So, what is an energy vampire? And sometimes when I use those words, I hear some people kind of giggle like, oh yeah, right, vampires. And, they think about Halloween and costumes and, the old movies and whatever, sucking the blood out of somebody. But the reason it's called that is because there are people who extract energy from us. And I really want to get into it about that. So what is an energy vampire? They're people who are typically very vulnerable, or they may feel really lost. And they've never been able to learn how to increase their own energy. So they find it easier to latch on to those who have a very high vibration, very high energy, and pull the energy out of them. And literally they're feeding off of the energy of other people. They may feel very lost, vulnerable. They may be someone who doesn't feel like they're capable of surviving on their own. Now, these people can look totally normal. They can look like they've got their act together. But inside their energetic bodies, they're craving energy and they don't know how to create it for themselves. So they will latch on to people who are very happy, very vibrant, especially people who are called empaths, or who have yeah, you get it, right?
Yes.
So what's an empath? An empath is someone who wears their heart on their sleeve, is open, who loves to draw people in. The minute someone is hurt or wounded or feels badly, it's like we want to run to their rescue. And I say we because, I'm one of them, is I can feel other people's anguish and emotion, whether it's happy or sad or whatever it is. I can feel them even if I'm not even in their presence. And I'm sure that you have discovered that about yourself, and there are many of us out there. So what do? We work on being high energy, high vibration, because we need to be enough for us and others too. But there are some people who, and that's fine, that we exchange, that's an even exchange of energy. I help you, you help me. That's the balance, that's the harmony in life that you also teach about. But those people who just take, they actually pull our energy out from us. So let me take a step back. Every time we connect with someone, we are giving them a piece of our energy. And at the end of the day, if we don't reclaim our sovereign energy back and our rightful spirit back, we become very dispersed. And what happens is we get tired.
Yeah.
We're overwhelmed. We get exhausted. We're like, wait a minute, I worked out, I'm eating well, I got a great night's sleep, and I'm waking up and I'm like, ugh, what is going on? And I'm sure we've all felt that, either from time to time or many times. So they literally, we give our energy away, and we need to learn how to reclaim that energy back. So what does that look like in real life? A person who's an energy vampire might look like someone who is constantly seeking your attention. They may be calling you, they may be texting you, they may be asking you your advice, they may hold you up on a high pedestal and think, oh, you're the end all or the be all. They go to you for everything that they need. Or it could be someone that we've met that creates a lot of drama. Have you ever met anyone who creates drama?
I mean,
is that a crazy question?
That's a big one for me, but it's something that I've worked with a lot of my clients on, is the drama people, because I work with women with a lot of stress issues and hormonal issues and just not feeling like themselves.
Right.
And I find that people that are causing the most drama in their lives, or the circumstances that are causing the most drama in their lives, is where all their stress manifests from. And some of these people that are so dramatic, they come from it. It's not coming from a hurtful, hateful place. They're
right.
Their own wounding or low vibe energy, or I have just noticed throughout the years, a lot of them are kind of attached to a victimhood identity as well. People that are really dramatic. And I would love this question. I think this would be a great question for you. I love that you brought up. I mean, it's the Unapologetic Woman Hour, but this is men, women, everyone. But you know, that term drama queens that keeps coming to my head. But when somebody is dealing with their own stuff, but they're also somebody that identifies a little bit more in this victimhood, or is somebody that's very dramatic, I have found when something is actually going on in their lives, it's not just the regular old drama. When it becomes intensive drama, I've just been witnessing this more, I think, as I'm accessing more of my empathic gifts and qualities. It's overwhelming. It's like everything is about them, and they literally, on an energetic level, like, I don't know how they do it, but it's like they almost morph situations to be only about them. And it's so draining, and I feel it more than I've ever felt it before. And to witness like other people reacting to it, they might not know what's going on, but I can literally, when there's somebody dramatic in my presence, even if they're not in the same room as me, I literally can like, I can feel the energy. So I'm just curious if some of my insights or the things that I've been noticing are on point, if they are technically energy vampires, or if they're just somebody that, is there a difference between somebody that's just all about themselves, selfish, victimhood mentality, or is there, they are of themselves energy vampires and they're just not aware of it? I would love some.
Well, yeah. So you are stepping into your awareness, much more of energy and your empathy, your empathic abilities, and all of your other spiritual abilities. And so absolutely, I'm glad you said, you know, even if you're not in the same room, you can actually feel like it's pushing you, you move to the side, like it's bombarding you, it's pushing you, and or trying to glom onto you.
Yeah.
And so,
like,
yeah,
people on Facebook, like on social media, and even places like that. It's just, even them in my computer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they are energy vampires in that they're doing everything they can to create attention in whatever way, whether they're trying to get your attention or they're making it all about themselves and the drama. They drop the bomb, you know, they drop the hand grenade, they run, and then they come back for more, and they get you involved. Anybody who's pulling you in, either energetically or otherwise, they're needing your energy. And if they're, you know, if it's all about them and it's all about the drama, that's living in a very, and operating, not living, but operating in a low vibrational energy. And so if they're constantly living in that drama and it's all about me, and oh, what am I going to do? And, you know, and what they do is they seek out people. They may seek people out for advice, but really what they're doing is they're pulling their energy out of them. And so what you're feeling is absolutely true. You know, it's someone, and one of the things I have is that it's someone who has difficulty taking responsibility for themselves and looks for others to fix their problems. And then once they engage you and get some of your energy, do they ever follow your advice? Rarely. No.
Well, because if
Rarely.
they would have,
They don't want your advice. They don't want your advice. They want your energy.
Yeah.
And this is a real thing. And you know, the fact that you can feel it, that's one of the things that I teach. I have we may talk about it later, but I have an upcoming workshop on this, is being able to identify your own energy as opposed to other people's energy, and how to deal with all of that. So, and you know, they can appear very happy, put together, but it's like they need another injection. Like they have to go back and get another injection of your energy, and some more and some more. And they may back off a while because they're smart. They know that they can't push you too much, but they're going to push you and they're going to draw you in enough to pull your energy from you. So that's how, in a nutshell, there's more to it, but that's some ways on how to recognize an energy vampire. They can be a significant other. They can be a friend. They can be a coworker. They can literally be someone. You can have the energy sucked out of you by walking down the sidewalk and having someone who's been in a low energy, and you pick that up and it drains you, and you're like, wait a minute, I was feeling great, and now I get to the end of the sidewalk, and why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling depressed? Where did that come from? It's because it doesn't belong to you. And that's part of what I teach, and how to recognize that. So, you know, we talked a little bit about, well, what do we look like, those people who have a high vibration? Some of us call ourselves light workers. You don't have to be a light worker. You don't even have to know what that means. But what do we look like? You know, we're heart-centered. We're often entrepreneurs who, again, want to help others resolve the challenges that they're having once and for all. Teach them how to resolve them so that they can continue to raise their vibration and go out and do the good works in the world, right? It's like a domino effect. We want to do good work so our clients can go out and do their work and help heal the world as well. I mean, sometimes we have really big missions, and sometimes they're small. Often we put other people's needs before our own. Have you ever had a client like that?
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of my clients are that as well, is that they're, oh, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, or, you know, I don't want to step on any toes, or maybe it's better that they get what they need and I'll get what I need maybe sometime down the road. And guess what? That road never comes. And it's not a bad thing to be that way, but if you clearly know how to set your boundaries, and I know you do a lot of work with your clients with that as well, then we learn about the balance of energy. So, do you think you want, you know, do you want me to talk a little bit about what we can do?
Yeah, I was
to help ourselves?
Like, I'll kind of maybe share a few of the things that I've noticed to be helpful, and then I think it'd be great if anybody that's here live has questions, they can ask away, obviously, at any point.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask some common questions that I've heard. I think that'd be a great way to end. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, sounds great.
So, I mean, I got recently into more crystals and things that have like high energy, high vibration. I've actually been using Mother Nature a lot. Last year I did a lot of spiritual training and just understanding, just like you said, I nerded out enough on the research, but I also had the amazing experiences of what it feels like to put your feet in the earth, or like get to the beach and how therapeutic the ocean can be to literally just wash away specific things, or just the benefit of, you know, sage and Palo Santo and smudging and how that actually does clear. I've been using essential oils more and learning how to use essential oils more for energetic properties, doing a little research, and I found out that lemongrass is a very great protector oil, and frankincense is a good clearing oil. So just having that, I kind of have started to kind of create my own toolkit of specific things to help me to stay protected, and like mindset work, and I create and imagine energetic bubbles as well. Those have been some of the few things that I've focused on. I have also found like mirror work, especially right in the morning before I step out into society, whether that's I'm on the computer or I'm moving into in-person work with people, is that I connect to myself as well. So those are kind of some of the ways that I've been doing. I love your share, your insights, your feedback, or any other practices that.
Yeah, no, those are all great ways. And you're talking about going out and putting your feet on the ground and going to the beach. As you know, those are very excellent, using nature for grounding techniques. So that's part of it, and part of protecting, if you will, from energy vampires, along from learning how to set boundaries. And once you recognize who that energy vampire is, and learning how to physically set boundaries, saying no instead of yes, and all of that. And that's a topic for another time. There are a lot of other ways, and I'll give you some tips as well. So, you know, and one of my first ones was, as you said, grounding yourself. So you can do that before you leave. Even, and going out in nature and grounding yourself is also clearing, because Mother Earth, or I call Mother Earth Pachamama, Mother Earth will pull all of that with intention, will pull all of the negative stuff out of you. But not everybody can go out and go walk on the sand before they go to work. So what do, you know, on our regular daily basis? You can ground yourself by visualization techniques and just a very brief meditation. And I don't want to hear where people say, I don't have time for meditation, because you can literally do it in 2 or 3 minutes.
Yes.
If you know how to do it, and you don't sit there and say, okay, now I'm going to meditate, and then you start thinking about a list you have to make and how many phone calls you have to make for the day and all of that. That's not meditation. So you're going to ground yourself through visualization and visualizing your feet as roots into the earth, and let Mother Earth just ask Mother Earth to suck all of the energy that doesn't belong to you out, transmute it, and bring all that good, fresh energy back up to you. That's one of the things that you can do. In the morning, you also want to make sure that, so that's kind of a clearing. You want to clear. You also want to raise your vibration. Now, just because we have high vibration and we're like a beacon to, you know, energy vampires, like, here we are, here we are, here we are. So what? I mean, we still need to keep our energy high and continue to raise our vibration. So, you know, we do that by positive thoughts. You can dance around for 2 minutes. That'll include exercise, you know, music, and meditation as well. Raise your vibration before you go out. The next thing that I suggest that people do is a body scan. Well, what's a body scan? You're literally, for like 30 seconds, looking at your head, your eyes, and it does not in the mirror, but just checking in with yourself, scanning your whole body from head to toe. How do I feel? Oh, my throat hurts. Does that belong to me? Or it feels a little dry. Okay. Oh yeah, my throat's been dry. Okay, that belongs to me. You check into your heart space. How am I feeling today? Oh, I'm feeling really upbeat and happy, and I'm loving life today. Okay, so check and do a whole body scan, everything from head to toe, and how you feel, because that's your energy. And that helps us to recognize when we pick up on someone else's energy that doesn't belong to us. Okay. So, and I want to tell you a quick little story. Not only can it drain your energy, but we can get physically ill from somebody else's draining our energy. And that just recently happened to me. I was sick for like 6 weeks, really, really ill, almost like I couldn't feel my life force, which is what helps us to heal. And you and I are, we believe in natural healing. So it took a while to get out of that. And I realized who the energy vampire was. And now I've taken care of that. So some tools. You talked about crystals. There are a couple of crystals that are really good. You can carry them with you. They're very good grounding, solid energy crystals. And of course, crystals have energy as well. So that would be black tourmaline or smoky quartz or even an amethyst. So if you carry one of those with you during the day, that will help to keep you grounded, and they're also good for protection, to protect yourself from other people's energy. So that's one thing. Another thing, I'm glad you talked about essential oils. In my workshop coming up, we're going to be creating personalized aura spray with crystals and essential oils that you can, and we have an aura, which is our spiritual bodies extend out, and we can contract them, our auras, and we can expand them. And that spray that we're going to spray around our aura in the morning before we go out is going to help to protect us as well. So those are a couple of things. Now you talked about, tell me about when you said you surround yourself with a bubble. What does that sound like to you?
Well, I
when you
envision, I tend to scoop up from the earth and almost imagine like when you blow like a bubble, like an actual bubble, that I'm kind of coated in it. I personally, I do 3 different ones. Like a personal one is the color purple, which I've always been connected to that color, but amethyst has always been a powerful stone for me. It's been hanging on my visor of my car for years and years, and I know that it's protected me from a lot of things going on the road. So that's just kind of been my personal color. I tend to then fill myself with a bubble of just universal love and like God energy, and think about just this white coated bubble. And then others I started to incorporate last year after I had a conversation with a friend of mine that pink is a really great for other people because it allows you to let what you want in, but not allow what doesn't serve you in. And I've been just doing those rituals every month, and just focusing, imagining that I'm coated with this, and not like right here that it is expanding my aura. And I'm going to do a scan to see where I'm at today. Make sure that my energy body is so connected by that. So that's kind of my ritual I do every morning.
Right. Well, and I want to add, that's perfect. And I'd like to add to that is setting the intention. Intention is everything. And that's manifesting. We can get into that another time too, but that's how we manifest. So what I'd like to do is expand that visualization of the white light bubble of protection for just a moment, if you'll allow me. Can we do a quick little meditation?
Of course.
Okay. All right. So, for the both of us and anyone who's on live or watches this later, you can do this every morning as surrounding yourself with a white light bubble of protection. You also want to ask your angels, your guardian angels, archangels, any spirit guides that you know or may not know of, to step in and help you when we do this as well.
Okay.
So if you just close your eyes, and I do this every morning, and of course you can even do this in the car, but don't close your eyes in the car. But before you leave the house, this is what I do. I ask, I say, please, I intend that I surround myself with a beautiful white light bubble of protection. And above that white light bubble of protection, I place a beautiful violet flame. That violet flame I ask to transmute and transcend any and all energy that attempts to penetrate my white light bubble of protection that does not serve me, so that it is transmuted and transcended to the universe and down to Mother Earth, so that it may be used for the highest and best of all. And so it is. All right. So I love that visualization of not only surrounding yourself with this, and then I also ask for that white light bubble to be surrounded around each of my family members, and I name them by name. And then I say, you know, protect us in any way that we travel today. So, you know, we can travel physically, we can travel astrally, we can travel, our bodies, our spirit bodies can travel as well. So surround us with that protection. But that violet flame, that purple that you talked about, can transmute that so that it becomes for the highest and best for everyone. So any negative energy that tries to penetrate us is going to be put out for the good of all. And that's being a light worker. So then also, here's what's really important, and there are a lot of other methods that I use and teach about pushing away a energy vampire. But if they do get in, and if they do start to pull energy, every evening at the end of the day, we need to be removing that energy. Because if we forget, that's when we have had a great day, we exercise, we eat well, we get a good night's sleep, we wake up the next day and our energy is in you know, low. Why is that? It's because any attachments or any negative energy that did happen to come on us has not been removed. So what I do is I go through my chakras and I cut any cords. We can, like you and I are creating a cord, right? Because we're having a conversation. Everyone that you're in the presence of, whether it's in person or not, during that day, you're making a connection with them and you're creating a cord. So I cut the cords and I specifically ask that any energy that does not belong to me be sent back to the original owner. I'm doing them a favor, right? Because they may not know that they've given me some of their energy. And then I also ask to reclaim my sovereign and rightful energy at the end of the day. So if I've given some to you and you don't know enough to give it back to me, I'm still reclaiming it back. So we can leave little bits and pieces of ourselves all over the place. First of all, it's no wonder we're exhausted. And then, because even though we still have a high vibration, those energy vampires will pull more energy from us. It's no wonder we're tired. It's no wonder we're exhausted. That makes sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, for me, it's like critical to learn more about who you are, how you feel. I know you and I both teach that in different ways, and really who you are at the core, and not only your purpose in life, but how to be purposeful. I've heard you use that before as well, but also how to know the difference between you and somebody else's energy. And we want to be in each other's energy, but we don't want to take energy away from others.
Yeah.
We want to be able to help raise other people's energy up and while keeping ours up as well. Right?
Yeah. That's great. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to change a few of my.
Yeah.
I have a question that came up, and if anybody also has a question that's live, feel free to ask, but also anybody listening to the recording, just ask the questions and make sure you tag Elizabeth if it's a question for her or a question for me. so that we know that who's asking the questions, so that we can make sure that we answer them. But there was something that you mentioned that I had a particular question about, and maybe you can give a little bit more clarity. Is you said you finally were able, when you were feeling really ill, you were finally able to figure out who the energy vampire was. Is there a way for people to practice knowing or figuring out who some of these energy vampires might be, especially if they're people that are either close to them, or if it's in more of a community setting? Like, how might people go about starting to investigate where they might be the vampires might be coming from?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, it's some of the things that we talked about, is checking in with yourself first. Doing that body scan is really important. And you can do that throughout the day too. It doesn't have to just be first thing in the morning. You want to do some of those things to protect yourself in the morning before you go out in the world. But you can continue to do those body scans. But if you check in, for example, when I went back in retrospect, I realized that this person who literally brought down my energy, that evening I started to get a sore throat out of the blue. Tracy, I had not been around anybody who was ill. I had not been around anyone who had a cold, nothing. And I never get sick. I just don't. I just, it just doesn't happen. So it started with a sore throat. And in retrospect, I went back and when I figured out who it was this person wanted to stop me from speaking my truth.
Oh.
That's the throat chakra. And it started here, and then it quickly went into my chest and my breathing. She wanted to stop me from being able to do anything. And then went up into my sinuses, and actually for about 3 weeks, I'd never had this before. It went in so that I couldn't hear anything for 3 weeks. She also didn't want me to hear what she was saying about me.
Oh.
So yeah, so there were, and then I discovered later on there was some jealousy and stuff going on, and she just wanted to just stop me flat out because for whatever reason. So, it's really imperative for anyone that you know how you feel. And if you've been around sick people and you get sick often, that's one thing. But if you're typically very healthy and all of a sudden something just appears out of the blue, notice where it appears. Are you getting a headache? All right, so that could be that somebody is really trying to say, pull out of your mind either your knowledge or pull out just your ability to think, because again, and then it could go into your throat. They don't want you to speak your truth. So you may not feel this all the time. You can get physically ill, but sometimes, more often than not, it's that feeling of heaviness that you described in the beginning, the feeling of tiredness, the feeling of exhaustion, the feeling, what just happened? You may even start thinking negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Like you're a really positive person and you're on your mission and you're doing everything right, and you're on the right path, and all of a sudden you're starting to question yourself. Am I really doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I really going to be successful? Am I really making a difference? Whatever it is, you start questioning yourself and doubting yourself. That's the energy has been pulled down. And in that lower vibration is where those thoughts come, and thoughts become things. And if you recognize it right away and say, oh, wait a minute, that's not me, and you clear yourself and you protect yourself, even if you have to do it again during the day, and raise your vibration, you can go back up to those positive affirmations, those positive thoughts, those positive actions that you have to take during your day. No matter where you work or who you're with, or even if you're on a day off or a weekend off, rather than saying, oh, what am I going to do today? You can say, wow, I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to take care of me. And you are all about self-care with your clients.
Yes.
And they forget about self-care. And that's why you're always there to remind them. And, the same with my clients is, wait a minute, we have to learn who you are and set those boundaries first and do it in a kind and compassionate way, but in a way that serves you and them, not just serves the other person. So,
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes, it makes total sense. And I found too, and I think it'll be a great way to bring this to a close. And two things that came up as you were sharing. Number one is I tend to get a lot of throat stuff, and I think it was because of in the past and even now in the present. I'm constantly leveling up my identity, leveling up who I am, just on, say the journey of life is just learning a little bit more about yourself each and every day. There's some people that are in my sphere that I notice, and they don't do it in, a lot of them don't do it intentionally. They're
Right.
not willing to do their own work, then they tend to bring me down. Don't do it in an intentional way, but I notice they stop me from speaking my truth. Questioning, well, is this just something else you're trying now, or no, this what, you weren't doing this before. And so I've constantly had to always check in with what's this energy, where's it coming from? And that's why I created Unapologetic Woman Hour and why I started the last several years is I want to have safe spaces for people to speak their truth. It's very important. And when it can be it can be scary, and this might be something you can share with me, is sometimes it's a little bit easier, and also in the beginning when somebody is learning how to speak their truth a little bit more and leveling up, growing, it can be sometimes more productive to be in a safe environment to speak their truth versus trying to like go to a family gathering and be like, this is the new me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that I found that when people can make sure they're in a safe space, practice being in that safe space, it makes it a little bit more manageable when they're in relationship with other people that have probably known them for a long time and have to adapt to this new version of
Right.
themselves. Because when we level up, it causes, as you're saying, there's a cord that begins to connect. It causes some kind of energetic exchange, and that makes the other person have to acknowledge it in some level. And I have just found in my own personal work and then working with my clients is they're gonna like run away from it and be like, oh no, they're gonna fight it, or they're going to acknowledge and accept it, especially when we're stepping up and being who we are. But people that are struggling with some of their own stuff, when there's the fighting or the running away, it's really their own stuff, but it's a hard situation to be in. And it's also somebody that's an empathic and somebody that is of high vibration or connected to the light. Then they feel empathy, they feel compassion for the other person. And I have found that really ultimately the most epic self-care we can give is we never want to diminish our own light for anybody.
Right. Absolutely.
It doesn't
Yeah.
well, and I did it for a while thinking I was being compassionate to what they were going through, and they just weren't ready for it. But each time I diminished my light, it kind of gave that skeptical part of me more proof that I didn't deserve it, and it made it harder for me to ignite my light again. And so I realized that it's this, as we continually level up, the resistance is going to occur. And sometimes as we level up higher and higher, sometimes the resistance even becomes a little bit more intense because that's the energy has become a little bit more intense. But that's been my journey recently of my own personal experience as well as my clients. And And I think for people out there, and I would love it to see what your thoughts are, is that if this is something new to people, this conversation, or if it's somebody that's in a level up where they're feeling like they're leveling up who they are, their identity, they're in even changes, even if it's like relationship changes or career,
Mm-hmm.
is that making sure they have safe environments where they can practice and feel safe to be who they are, this new version of themselves, um, can be really beneficial instead of just throwing yourself into the bull race of the other communities you might be a part of, because those people just maybe need some time to get the new you. But have you noticed that, or do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, for sure. You talk about starting in a safe space. We are who we are. Okay. So that person has been in there, and we may have been hiding parts of this person, but you talk about leveling up, and you want to be 2.0, you want to be even, you want to let more of who you are out. So finding a safe space, like a coach like you or myself, where it is a safe space, you have or mentor, someone that you can totally be non-judged, totally let everything out and break it all open and say, okay, this is what I'm afraid about. This is what I want to do. This is really who I am. I've always been this way, but I've kept myself closed up because I was afraid the world wasn't ready or whatever. So the reason why, and I'm sure you found this as well, the reason why some people are afraid to break that open, that resistance is what you're talking about, is they're afraid that things will change. And it's typically around relationships.
Yes.
They may be in a horrible job. I have tons of clients who have been in corporate and who have literally been bullied in their workspace and have wanted to either create their own business and or wanted to move to a different location or whatever, a different business or a different office. They're afraid to be who they fully are because that's going to create ripples. Or they may be afraid that they're going to lose a very close relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it could be a significant other. It could be a family member. It's like, well, if I really talk about this, or if I really fully step into who I am, I'm going to lose all of this. But the bottom line is, you are who you are. You've always had this at your core. So finding a coach, a mentor, someone in the beginning, maybe that one-on-one is best to start breaking that open and feeling into that. But here's the thing, the people who are really close to you, people don't realize, people who are really close to you, once you start stepping out and really fully being who you are, they're going to look at you and say, it's about time. What have you been waiting for? It's about time that I've always known this about you. I've always, and I'm sure you've heard it, and I have as well. I've always known this about you. It's about time that you fully step into your abilities. We've been waiting for you. Those are your people. Those are your tribe. That's your community. They're not going away. Those are the ones who are raising vibration with you. And it's okay that other relationships or other jobs or other situations, sometimes it's location. I've gone into homes where I've done clearings and blessings, and you can feel that the energy is just pushing that person out because the energy is so low in the space, but that person has such a high vibration and they're miserable. They're miserable and they don't know why. So being able to, as you're raising your vibration, it's natural. There will be people and situations in your life that are going to fall away, that you will no longer be connected with. And that's okay, because they have their path and their lessons to learn, and you have your path, and you can't drag these balls and chains behind you forever. You shouldn't at all, but that's what some of us have done in the past, is drag these balls and chains behind us.
Yeah.
And it's not serving anybody. It's not serving any. You're here to make an impact. we're all here to make an impact in some way. And we can do that by being the best versions of ourselves.
Awesome. Oh, I think that's a
Yeah.
perfect way to end our conversation. I know this is going to
Mhm.
ignite further conversations after the live video goes up. So make sure, everybody, that you do ask questions. You tag Elizabeth. You tag if it's a specific question. If any of you aren't part of the Tracy's Total Wellness community yet, I'm going to post a link where it is what we're talking about here. It's a safe space to feel like you can be heard. It's also a great resource for things that I only give to my tribe of my community, where it's these tools, little things like we've been mentioning, but it's constant resources and tools so that we can keep our vibe high. So make sure that any of you that are out there, if you're not part of the Tracy's Total Wellness community, I'm going to post a link here as well. Share this video with other people that you think might need to hear it, or even just you can share it on your own page, and the right person might hear it at the right time that they really need to. I have found that we can really use these amazing technological powers we have good and sharing and spreading this light when there is some heavier darkness throughout the internet or social media. Let's use something like this conversation Elizabeth and I had to spread more light through the wires, the internet, and the atmosphere, and keep this light energy moving. So as we close, Elizabeth, is there anything you want to share with the community about what you have coming up, or any free gift or anything that you want to share with them? And then you can, after the live, post it in the comments for people to receive that. Is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. And, you know, I first of all, I want to thank you for creating what you have created and creating more. And thank you for who you are and how you put yourself out in the world to just make a difference. So I just honor you with that. I thank you. Thank you for this time. And this is time well spent and well served if we can touch even just a few lives and help them to transition into their best version of themselves. I do have actually an energy vampire workshop coming up. It is on June 22nd in the Altamont Springs area. It's a 3.5-hour workshop, breakfast included, all supplies included. One of the things we're going to do, we're really going to dive deep into what it looks like. You're going to be able to recognize your own energy, the energy of other people, and even more tools on how to protect yourself from an energy vampire. We're going to create your own personalized aura spray. So that workshop is coming up. I have it on Meetup under the page called 222 Wisdom Events. But what I'd like to offer, I actually had an early bird special that has already expired, but I would love to offer it to all of your tribe as well, and anyone who hops on with us. So it's a $34 savings. It's $77. The original price is $111, but again, breakfast is included, and we're really going to dive deep, and also space is limited. So I will post that in there, and they can just text me if they're interested, or I can send them to Meetup as well. And that's what's coming up. I do also do life path consultations and a couple of other things. So if they're interested, just, they can let me know. But I applaud you for your mission, your goal, for being the very, very special spirit that you are. And I'm just blessed to be your friend and have this time with you together today.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it. And I just want to honor you and thank you for all that you have done and your journey you've taken. And I'm blessed that we have met and we've created a relationship together as well.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
all right.
Again, all that'll be in the comments below. And let's keep this conversation going. And I look forward to our next Unapologetic Woman Hour next month. Keep an eye out on my Facebook page, Tracy's Total Wellness, to get more information. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Be well and be
Bye.
you.